For 3 years, I woke up every morning the same way, slowly rolling to my side, using my hands to push myself up, and then carefully, oh so carefully, turning my head to check the time. The stiffness in my neck had become my unwelcome morning companion. Just part of getting older, I'd tell myself. This is what 62 is supposed to feel like. My name is Margaret Wilson, and like many of you watching, I accepted neck pain as an inevitable part of aging. I'd given up gardening, struggled to play with my grandchildren, and even stopped driving at night because I couldn't turn my head properly to check blind spots. I was convinced this was simply my new reality. Until a chance conversation with my doctor changed everything. It wasn't until my annual checkup that things changed. My doctor noticed how I winced when turning my head during the examination. "How long has your neck been bothering you?" she asked. "Oh, a few years now." "It's just age catching up with me," I replied with a forced smile. What she said next stopped me in my tracks. "Margaret, chronic neck pain isn't a normal part of aging. It's your body telling you something's wrong." I remember sitting there stunned. For years, I've been dismissing this pain as inevitable, something I just had to live with because I was in my 60s. I'd been telling myself that stiffness and discomfort were just the price we pay for growing older. But what if that wasn't true? What if I'd been unnecessarily suffering all this time? That appointment marked the beginning of my journey to reclaim mobility and comfort that I thought was lost forever. And today, I want to share what I've learned with you, because if you're watching this video, chances are you or someone you love is experiencing similar pain. Let's talk about what actually happens to our necks as we age. Yes, there are natural changes. Our spinal discs lose some moisture and flexibility over time. The spaces between our vertebrae may narrow slightly. But these normal changes don't automatically mean pain. My physical therapist explained it like this: think of your body as a car. Yes, older models might need more maintenance, but with proper care, they should still run smoothly. Pain is like a warning light on your dashboard. It's telling you something specific needs attention. For many of us over 60, neck stiffness comes from several factors that have nothing to do with the natural aging process. First, there's posture. After decades of looking down at books, paperwork, and now smartphones and tablets, our neck muscles develop imbalances. Some muscles become overstretched and weak, while others become tight and shortened. Then there's decreased activity. Many of us become less active as we age, which means our neck muscles aren't getting the movement and strengthening they need. And let's not forget stress. The tension we carry in our shoulders and neck from life's worries creates physical tightness that can last for years if not addressed. The revelation that my pain wasn't just normal aging was both frustrating and liberating. Frustrating because I'd accepted limitations unnecessarily, but liberating because it meant there was hope for improvement. After that doctor's appointment, I was referred to a physical therapist who specialized in helping older adults with neck issues. During my first session, she performed a thorough assessment of my neck mobility, strength, and posture. "Margaret," she said after the evaluation, "your neck muscles are extremely tight on one side and weak on the other. This imbalance is pulling your spine out of alignment, creating that constant stiffness you feel." She showed me how years of reading in bed with my head propped at an angle, always carrying my purse on the same shoulder, and my habit of cradling the phone between my ear and shoulder had created these imbalances. The most eye-opening moment came when she showed me my posture in a mirror. My head was noticeably forward of my shoulders, creating what she called forward head posture. For every inch my head moved forward from its optimal position, it was adding an extra 10 pounds of pressure on my neck muscles and spine. "This isn't age, Margaret," she explained. "This is simply a pattern your body has learned over time. And what's learned can be unlearned." That sentence, "what's learned can be unlearned," became my mantra. After years of accepting limitations, I suddenly had hope that I could teach my body something new, regardless of my age. My recovery program started with gentle awareness exercises. Before jumping into stretches or strengthening, my therapist wanted me to reconnect with how my neck and shoulders actually felt. She taught me a simple body scan technique. Sitting comfortably, I would close my eyes and mentally travel from my head down through my neck, shoulders, and upper back, simply noticing areas of tension without judging them. This awareness practice revealed something surprising. I was unconsciously holding tension in my neck and shoulders even when relaxing. My shoulders were practically living next to my ears. Next came gentle mobility exercises. These weren't about pushing through pain or forcing movement. Instead, they focused on slowly reintroducing movement pattern that had become restricted. One of the first exercises was simply nodding my head forward and back, like saying, "yes," but doing it with mindful attention to the sensation. Then we added the no motion, turning gently from side to side. What struck me was how emotional this process was. There were moments when I'd feel a release in a muscle that had been tight for years, and suddenly tears would come. It was as if my body was letting go of tension I didn't even know I was carrying. "Your body remembers everything," my therapist explained. "Sometimes when we release physical tension, we also release emotional tension we've been holding." For the first time in years, I started experiencing moments without neck pain. They were brief at first, just a few minutes where I'd suddenly realize my neck wasn't hurting. But those moments gradually extended into hours. One of the hardest lessons I learned was about consistency. Like many people, I wanted a quick fix, a magic stretch or exercise that would solve everything immediately. But healing decades of tension and imbalance takes time and regular attention. My physical therapist created a simple 10-minute routine for me to do twice daily. Nothing strenuous or complicated, just gentle movements to rebalance my neck muscles and improve my posture. "This isn't about pushing through pain," she cautioned. "It's about creating new patterns through gentle, consistent practice." At first, finding time for these exercises felt like another chore on my to-do list. But I soon discovered that linking them to existing habits made them easier to remember. My morning routine became wake up, brush teeth, do neck exercises. In the evening, wash face, neck exercises, then read before bed. After about 3 weeks of consistent practice, something shifted. The exercises no longer felt like a medical treatment I had to force myself to do. They became something my body actually craved, like a drink of water when you're thirsty. I noticed that on days when I skipped my routine, the stiffness would creep back more noticeably. My body was giving me clear feedback about what it needed. This was an important realization for me. At 62, I'd fallen into thinking that my body was just breaking down and there was nothing I could do about it. But here was evidence that my body was still responsive, still adaptable, still capable of healing and change. It just needed the right input, consistently applied. As my physical symptoms improved, my curiosity grew. I wanted to understand more about how our necks work and what contributes to pain and stiffness. This led me down a path of learning that completely changed how I think about my body. I discovered that neck health isn't isolated. It's connected to everything from how we breathe to how we sleep to how we manage stress. For instance, I learned that shallow chest breathing, which many of us do when stressed, actually engages neck muscles that aren't designed for continuous use in breathing. Practicing deeper belly breathing helped reduce unnecessary tension in my neck. Sleep position was another revelation. For years, I'd slept with two fluffy pillows that pushed my head forward. My physical therapist recommended a contoured pillow that supported the natural curve of my neck, and the difference was remarkable. I started waking with significantly less stiffness. Hydration also plays a crucial role in neck comfort. Our spinal discs need adequate water to maintain their cushioning function. At my therapist's suggestion, I increased my water intake and noticed less stiffness, especially in the mornings. Perhaps most surprising was learning about the connection between neck tension and jaw tension. I discovered I had a habit of clenching my jaw when concentrating, which created a chain reaction of tension up into my neck and head. Simple awareness exercises helped me catch this pattern and release it. These insights helped me see that caring for my neck wasn't just about neck-specific exercises. It was about how I lived in my body throughout the day. Small adjustments to daily habits were often as important as the dedicated exercise time. My journey wasn't a straight line to recovery. There were setbacks that tested my commitment and taught me important lessons. About 2 months into my new routine, I got caught up in preparing for my granddaughter's birthday party. I spent hours decorating, cooking, and cleaning, all while neglecting my neck exercises and proper posture. By evening, the familiar pain had returned with a vengeance. I felt defeated. Had all my progress been an illusion? Was I destined to return to pain despite my efforts? The next day, still in considerable discomfort, I visited my physical therapist for an emergency session. What she told me changed my perspective entirely. Margaret, healing isn't linear, she explained. Setbacks aren't failures, they're information. Your body is telling you what it can and cannot handle right now. Instead of seeing this flare-up as a sign that my efforts were futile, I began to view it as valuable feedback. I learned that I needed to pace myself during busy periods and be more mindful of how I was using my body, especially when distracted by other responsibilities. This setback actually became a breakthrough in disguise. It helped me develop more body awareness and better strategies for managing high-demand situations. I learned to take brief posture breaks during busy days, to delegate tasks that put particular strain on my neck, and to use gentle movement as a way to prevent tension from building up. The most significant breakthrough came about 4 months into my journey. I was playing with my youngest grandchild, a game that involved looking up at toy airplanes we were dangling above us. In the past, looking up had been particularly painful, limiting many activities I loved. But this time, I realized I'd been playing for nearly 20 minutes with no discomfort. I could turn my head freely, look up without pain, and fully engage in the moment without my neck demanding attention. I actually stopped and cried right there on the living room floor. My confused grandchild asked what was wrong, and all I could say was, "Nothing's wrong, sweetheart. Grandma is just very happy." That moment of realizing I could be fully present without pain was worth every minute of exercises, every adjustment to my habits, every bit of effort I'd put into this journey. As my neck pain decreased, I noticed something unexpected. Other aspects of my health and well-being improved too. The most immediate change was in my sleep quality. Without the discomfort of trying to find a comfortable position for my neck, I fell asleep more easily and woke less frequently during the night. Better sleep led to more energy during the day and improved my mood noticeably. Headaches, which I'd experienced regularly for years and had attributed to age or stress, decreased dramatically. I hadn't fully realized how many of my headaches were actually stemming from neck tension. My balance improved as well. The connection might not seem obvious, but proper neck alignment affects the vestibular system that helps us maintain balance. As my neck posture improved, I felt more stable on my feet, with less of the wooziness that I'd also been blaming on age. Perhaps most meaningful was the return of activities I loved. I could garden again, bending and looking in all directions without pain. I resumed my watercolor painting, able to look down at the paper for longer periods. I could drive comfortably, even at night, with the ability to check blind spots safely. The psychological impact was profound too. Having taken back control of something I thought was an inevitable decline gave me confidence to address other aspects of my health proactively. I was no longer passively accepting limitations as just part of getting older. This journey taught me that many of the physical complaints we associate with aging are actually addressable problems, not inevitable conditions. Yes, our bodies change as we age, but pain is rarely normal. It's a signal that something needs attention. As my mobility improved and pain decreased, friends and family noticed the change. At a community center luncheon, another woman my age commented on how easily I was turning to chat with people at our table. "You move so freely," she said. "I can barely turn my head anymore without pain. Just part of getting older, I guess." I heard my old self in her words, and something compelled me to share my story. I told her about my journey, the exercises, the posture adjustments, and the mindset shift that had been equally important. To my surprise, she asked if I could show her some of the basic exercises. Right there at the community center, we went through a few gentle neck stretches. Soon, 2 other women joined us, each sharing their own struggles with neck pain they'd been dismissing as inevitable aging. That impromptu session evolved into a weekly neck and shoulder relief meetup at the community center. Nothing formal, just a small group of us going through gentle exercises and supporting each other's progress. Some brought their husbands, who turned out to be suffering silently with similar issues. What struck me most was how many people had simply accepted pain and limitation as an unavoidable part of aging. Like me, they'd adjusted their lives around their pain rather than addressing its causes. Our little group became a highlight of my week. Watching others experience the same revelations I had, that their bodies were still capable of change, still responsive to proper care, was deeply rewarding. One woman in our group, Elaine, had stopped attending her grandchildren's school events because sitting on hard bleachers and looking up caused too much neck pain. 3 months after joining our group, she attended her grandson's basketball game, all 4 quarters, without pain. The joy on her face when she shared this with our group moved us all to tears. These experiences convinced me that sharing this knowledge more widely could help countless others who are unnecessarily limiting their lives due to neck pain they believe is just normal aging. Looking back on this journey, There are several things I wish someone had told me years ago, before I surrendered so much of my activity and joy to neck pain. First, pain is not the price of aging. While our bodies do change over time, chronic pain is usually a sign that something needs attention, not a normal condition to be endured. Second, our bodies remain adaptable throughout our lives. At 62, I had assumed my body was essentially fixed, that patterns and problems were permanent. I've learned that even after decades of suboptimal patterns, our bodies can learn new ways of moving and being. Third, consistency trumps intensity. The gentle exercises I did regularly made a far bigger difference than the occasional, more intense treatments I'd tried in the past. Small, sustainable changes add up to significant results. Fourth, awareness precedes change. Simply developing the ability to notice tension patterns was half the battle. We can't change what we don't notice. Fifth, environment matters enormously. Adjusting my pillow, computer setup, reading position, and even the height of my kitchen counters made maintaining proper neck alignment much easier. And finally, community support amplifies personal efforts. Sharing this journey with others who understand the challenges has provided motivation, accountability, and joy that would have been missing had I traveled this path alone. I often wonder how different the past few years might have been if I'd addressed my neck issues sooner rather than dismissing them as inevitable aging. How many gardening sessions, games with grandchildren, and comfortable night's sleep did I miss because I didn't know what I know now? But rather than dwelling on what's past, I'm grateful to have found this path now, with potentially decades of more comfortable, active living ahead of me. So here we are. From accepting daily pain as normal aging to reclaiming mobility and comfort I thought were lost forever. It's been quite a journey. If you're watching this and recognizing your own story and mine, I want you to hear this. Your neck pain is not something you just have to live with because you've reached a certain age. It's not the inevitable tax on growing older. It's your body communicating that something needs to change. The stiffness when you try to check your blind spot while driving. The discomfort that keeps you from looking up at birds or stars. The limitation that prevents you from fully engaging with your grandchildren. None of these are just part of getting older. I'm not saying the journey to relief is always quick or simple. Mine certainly wasn't. But even small improvements can significantly impact your quality of life. And those improvements are possible at any age. If my story resonates with you, I encourage you to take that first step. Speak with your doctor about your neck pain rather than dismissing it. Ask for a referral to a physical therapist who understands the specific needs of older adults. Begin exploring gentle exercises designed for neck mobility. Remember that your body hasn't forgotten how to be comfortable. It just needs the right support and attention to find its way back to ease. I'd love to hear about your experiences with neck pain and aging in the comments below. Has this video changed how you think about your own pain? What questions do you have about beginning this journey for yourself? If you found this information helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel for more videos on maintaining mobility and comfort as we age. And share this video with someone you know who might be unnecessarily living with neck pain. Thank you for joining me today. Here's to aging with comfort, mobility, and joy. Because getting older doesn't have to mean living with pain.